Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim. With me, of course, is Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And Dr. Squee.
Ahoy, hoy.
And this week we are talking about, we've got new Star Trek again, guys. We had, couple of dodgy weeks there where there were no new Star Trek.
I was starting to get withdrawals. It's about time.
Absolutely, So yeah, we've got new Star Trek, and it's the first episode of Lower Decks, the new season, and then, as we always do, we tried to find a bit of a thematic link with Lower Decks, and we couldn't really find one until Elliot had...
We could find them, because, there's loads of movie references, but we've done the movies.
Yeah.
And then we made the mistake, because it was a bank holiday weekend last week. So we went out drinking on Friday night.
Yep.
And that's when we decided, while we were really drunk, that Justice would be a good idea. Because it has a link to the trial.
I was wondering what led to this chicanery with watching Justice being drunk. That's the only reason why you put yourself through watching this.
At the time, it made sense. Justice for Captain Freeman. Justice. That was as far as we got, but it seemed like a big revelation at the time. So either way, we're doing
you were
Justice.
Just thinking of all the scantily clad people on the episode, weren't you?
I've forgotten about them, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, we'll talk about them. But should we talk about Lower Decks first of all, then? So yeah, Lower Decks is back. Lower Decks, I think, other than the Strange New Worlds, is probably the one most people are happy with out of the new treks.
Yeah, I'm not happy with Paramount Plus because Lower Decks isn't on Paramount Plus for us in the UK.
No, it's not. That's weird.
I know for lots of people it's great because it's still available on Amazon, but I paid for my subscription for Paramount Plus. The Strange New Worlds was all delayed, didn't drop it straight away, so I was behind. Now I haven't got Lower Decks, so potentially I'm looking at maybe 4 months before I'll actually get some new Trek on the service I've signed up for new Trek.
It's true.
And as you can hear, Willow isn't happy about it.
No, should she be?
And finally, she proves my new titles right with a spontaneous appearance.
There you go. She's not going to do it on cue the week when you expect her to. She's not performing monkey.
It's not spontaneous then. But while we're on the subject of Paramount Plus, sorry, Dr. Squee, I know you're a big Cheers fan. Now, you might be able to answer this question. Did they decide to digitally remaster some of it, but not all of it? Because we've got to season 4, and suddenly the picture quality has just dropped into the toilet. And it's like they thought, we'll do the first 3 seasons, then you know what? The rest of it can just fend for itself.
I think what happened was the first 3 seasons, when they came out on DVD, had loads of extras and things with them. And then suddenly went to just the episodes, I think, due to sales. So probably if they were cutting back on that, they also cut back on high-resing them.
That's certainly the way it looks. So that's another strike against Paramount.
Although, I'd just like to add to what you were saying about Lower Decks. I don't think that universally, I love it, but it's I think there's a lot of Trek purists who kind of don't like the fact that it's more adult and stuff like that. I have heard that, read that online a little bit.
I'm enjoying it, and I thought this was a good start to the new season. So let's have a look at this one then, Grounded. And I have to say, because we're in the 3rd season now, I've kind of got used to the way Lower Decks does things. And this episode starts with a news report, and there's a little news ticker at the bottom of the screen. And I missed everything that was going on because I was just I thought there's going to be so many Easter eggs in this little news thing running along the bottom that I just couldn't concentrate on what the people were actually saying in the scene. So I was reading about the youngest ever Zakdon champion of Stratagema and all this stuff. And it's very Lower Decks, but yeah, bit distracting.
That's why you need to watch it at least 3 times to get every reference in Lower Decks.
I think so, yeah. And yeah, Mariner's not happy about it, and she's throwing things and destroying the apartment. It was nice to see Mariner's dad, though, because we very rarely see him. I think this is the first time we've seen him in the flesh, if you like, possibly, because he's always just been on a view screen, hasn't he? And it was nice to sort of see the dynamic she's got with her dad when we've seen it with her mum repeated.
Wasn't he in person at the last one of the... Because I watched back the last one of last series because I was trying to remember how it went down with the Pac-Led thing. I think he's in that one.
Oh, is he? See, I'll hold my hands up. I wasn't sure, but it's certainly the most we've seen him then, we'll say. And I thought that was all good fun. I like that he likes the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah,
that was good.
I love the fact that she called it as well. It's like, why do we even need a bridge? No one drives anymore. Like, people like the bridge. I like the bridge. It was a lovely little character beat.
I think, if I'm not wrong, is there not loads of solar panels on the bridge where it used to function as a bridge, so now it's used to generate power? Yeah.
Or at least it looked like it was solar panels.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? So
I just assume people walked on it now.
Yeah, well, I suppose you could walk on the solar panel, but it'd probably burn your feet or whatever.
Not on the solar panels, on the bridge.
Well, the bridge is a solar panel. Oh, that's what I thought.
It looks like
I didn't know it was all solar panels. Maybe they left a walkway. I don't know. Jeez.
Well, the thing is,
I'm a podcaster, not an engineer, damn it.
The reason that the bridge can't be used is because of all that stuff that kicked off in the Planet of the Apes on it. You know, it's been out of whack since then, really. So, what do you want? We get this where they keep saying trust in the system, and that goes throughout the episode, and obviously that pays off at the end.
And can we just go back to Bridge? And I think it's quite nice this with Star Trek that the Golden Gate Bridge is still there, because you watch so many blockbuster sci-fis and that, and because it's an iconic landmark, it's one that always gets destroyed.
That's
Star
true.
Trek have just gone, no, we like the Golden Gate Bridge. It doesn't get destroyed ever.
Yeah, even the Cindy missed it.
Yeah.
Well, by quite a way. They attacked Florida.
Oh, yeah, okay. I did enjoy the fact that when Admiral Elliot there said, it's like, oh, can we just get back to the bridge? I was thinking, we haven't done anything on the bridge of a ship yet. It's like, oh, no. Genuinely got confused for a second.
We're getting there. And then as we get reintroduced to the characters, then it is just like callback city. So we've got Boimler, who's working on a vineyard, which is obviously very Picard. And he seems to be a very popular young man on this vineyard as well, which...
Yeah, has no idea.
Yeah, bless him.
Ironically, it was the same thing I was thinking when I saw Wesley in that kind of... Which we'll get to, obviously, but... when the girl kind of like comes up to him, he gets all sternly. It's like, you just wasted on the wrong people. It's the same thing here with Boimler. Got all these women throwing themselves at him on his raisin vineyard, which is
his raisin. Yeah, all we do is dry grapes.
And it's that classic thing of
rest of them
kind of like a classic kind of setup. So we're used to seeing Picard in a few things now at the vineyard, kind of slowly picking up a grape, like just in shadow and everything, and they set up Boimler perfectly just to get a fly in his mouth. It's great. It's the detail they go into, which I find just genius of Lower Decks. Yeah,
it did make me wonder as well if Boimler dyes his hair with grape juice.
Well, we do find out that he dyes his hair.
Exactly, yeah, and it's the same colour. So I'm wondering if we're meant to headcanon that he uses his family's vineyard to dye his hair.
Oh, that'd be nice. I like that.
But then over in with Tendi and Rutherford, we're in Sisko's restaurant, which we talked about extensively last week. So I always like it when we get a bit of DS9 love. Like there's been a lot of callbacks to TNG, TOS. And it's nice when you get a bit of DS9. So I'm glad to see that Joseph Sisko's restaurant's still going strong.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing, look, it was a very tightly packed episode, so I can see why they didn't. But I would like to just see him walking past in the background, Joe Sisko, or kind of like some little reference if they're playing that the character's dead as well. It would have been nice to just have a look.
Because he'd probably still be alive, wouldn't he? This isn't long after DS9 finished, and he was still going.
It's not long after, and the way that they live like by now. No reason for him not to still be going.
Yeah, he could still be alive.
I mean, he had a medical condition, but it's one of those things. It's like sometimes when an actor dies, they do kill off the character. So, whichever way they were going to play it, though, it would have been nice to have a little reference to him. I think just have him walking past the
how they could have done it is them ordering something off the menu and getting, no, you will have
the souffle.
Yeah. So really nice to see the restaurant. Ketracel white hot sauce as well was a nice touch. And I spotted it before it had a close-up. I thought I've done really well here. I've spotted an Easter egg, and I was going to message you guys saying, look at the bottle in the thing. And then it did a close-up to it, and I'm like, oh, I thought I'd been really clever spotting that, but never mind.
We're messaging you back going, but James, they're closing up on it. Yeah, I sent the message before.
Yeah. And Rutherford and Boimler are dressed as Wesley and Jake. They're wearing the same outfits. So I think Boimler's wearing Wesley's outfit from the last time you see Wesley in TNG. Is it Journey's End? Where he goes off with the Traveller and everything. And Rutherford's wearing one of Jake's outfits from the later seasons of DS9. So I thought that was a nice touch as well.
I was trying to work out where that bloody 80s jumper was from. Thank you.
Yeah, that was it. And then the plan is, let's go use the emergency transporter. And they're going to knock the guy out, but it turns out it's this lovely old guy who's got stories for him and everything. I thought that was good fun as well. Also, and it's one of these. Go on, sorry.
No, I know this would be Elliot in this future. You would be the one who collected all the different transporters. What was he called himself? It
was like a buffer buff or something.
Buffer buff. That was it. A genius phrase. Surely the model maker of that time.
Yeah, so I really liked that guy and all the stuff with him, and ultimately the trail leads us to Montana, and this is where it goes all out first contact. Like, I love how they bring the music in, and they've got the statue, and the way the point
they've made it into a theme park.
Yeah,
and I really like the idea that there's theme parks of historical events.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've been telling Chloe for years, like, we are going to Montana on first contact day. And she said, it's a little bit depressing. She said, like, well, if you're well enough to fly. And I'm like, come on, I'll only be 82. What's the problem? I'll be fine. I'm going to Montana. And I just hope that there's a little slide there now that's shaped like the Vulcan ship. And they've got the bar that only plays one song and everything.
Yeah. That was a nice little touch. And it's just great where they find these kind of logical ways of getting cameos in, like to have the voice of James Cromwell at the beginning of it, where they go in. That's wonderful. And
it's one of these, it almost makes sense that, they'd have a replica of the Phoenix giving you a ride, so that's where they can steal a ship. And, so there is almost a logic to that. I do
like the idea that in the future, fairground rides are actually going to be spaceships.
Yeah.
That really appeals to me. Now, come on, Disney. What are we waiting for?
Well, they did try it with Star Wars with apparently Star Wars Land, very popular, but the hotel where you can't see out the window because they want to make it authentic. Lots of people have said how claustrophobic it is. So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that did not do well, did it? Like I saw...
We've stayed in easy hotels. We know what small claustrophobic hotels can be.
With no windows. Easy hotel where you have to pay an extra $5 for a window.
No, it was £10 for a window.
£10 for a window. £5 if you wanted the telly to switch on.
Yeah.
Whereas in Star Wars Land, you pay a lot more for a lot less.
Well, that was it. There was a big article that said, like, here's the real reason that the Star Wars Hotel failed. It's like, I could tell you without doing a study of it. It's out, 600 quid a night or whatever. That's why it failed, mate.
Yeah.
It was not to do with the theme or anything.
Yeah, whereas this version is a lot better. You get to fly the starship up yourself. That's better. I like that one.
Yeah, I like this. And I like the kid who gets in. He's like, well, you've got to make a 5 if you're a solo rider.
Come on, Kevin. Come on. You can do it. He's talking himself up into doing this.
Yeah,
He's like,
he only goes...
Imagine he's waited years to get up the confidence.
This doesn't go
Loads
over
of therapy
warp
just to get to this moment.
Yeah. It only goes to warp 1, which again makes sense because that was all the real feats did. So... yeah, little details. And yeah, the whole thing is we're going to find Boimler's logs and that'll prove everything. And it's a bit...
yeah, because he's really thorough and he mimics what's...
yeah.
officers do. He puts their logs into his logs.
I know it's a comedy, so, you've got to give a little bit more leeway for the plotting and stuff, but it's very, very thin, is that? Like, okay, so their logs have disappeared, but Boimler's hasn't, and it's...
yeah, but no, I'll give him that one because Boimler is the anal retentive guy who would keep his own separate set of logs, and why would they think to look in his personal file?
True.
Although
yeah, go on.
He would get a lot of crap from Starfleet for recording all that much detail in a fairly open log.
Yeah, and he does go into a lot of detail, doesn't he? Where he's like, I heard him say my name. Well, he might have said Boyles, but
yeah.
I was in trouble again for sniffing the captain's chair.
Yeah.
I think was one.
That's a bit minging.
Again's the kicker. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
How my purple hair dye. No one will ever know my real hair colour.
Yeah, it is rather wonderful.
And then it ends up with Mariner stealing the ship. So we it's not quite Star Trek 3 someone stealing the Enterprise, but it's good fun. And yeah, obviously they end up getting caught, and I love how Tendy's like, no, we'll say it's a science experiment, and the guys actually buy it, which is a great punchline to it all.
Yeah.
Well, of course you're doing that.
It's a hapless guard. It's like, it's like, what are you guys up to? Science experiment. Well, it's nice to see kids doing something like this, and then it is very nicely queued up. I do like that.
Yeah. And it turns out, of course, that Freeman did trust in the system and she did get off. And it's great to imagine that there's been a conventional episode of Star Trek going on while we've been following these characters. There's been a classic Star Trek courtroom where someone comes in with the evidence right at the end and all of that stuff.
To do that, right at the end of the episode, this is what's happening.
Yeah, we get like Captain Morgan Bateson going back to Cheers again, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
And so he's a captain now and he goes on secret missions and he's got Tuvok with him and all this stuff.
He was already a captain, wasn't he?
Well, he was, but I mean, sorry, he's a captain still. He's readjusting to the 24th century.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you court-martial him or something, Jim?
I didn't personally, but, he did lose 100 years, so, maybe he needs a court-martial.
I know, I just love Lower Decks never miss an excuse to just cram in some extra references. So it's like Captain Bateman, and then there was Tuvok, and then there was this guy. You remember? I love all that, and it's like, and like you say, it's just that whole idea of it's classic Lower Decks to have a whole other kind of standard Star Trek episode happen while we were following them just on their jolly japes through the universe, and also it means that nothing they did mattered for anything as well.
No, that's it. There was no point.
Apart from the help team, that space species mate.
They did. That's true. They got a win there. So
yeah,
I like the.
I love the fact that any other show you'd be really annoyed that they did an episode which just didn't matter for anything, whereas Lower Decks it's perfect.
Yeah, well, it's to be expected if nothing else, I like that they're obviously setting up what's probably going to be an arc this season, which is right. Now Mariner's on report with Ransom, so that's going to be a bit of a different dynamic to what we've had with her in the past now.
Will the Walt, the sort of love thing going on, haven't we? This attraction with them.
Yeah, there's been a bit of that. So,
and like Captain Freeman doesn't know about this, so she actually put her daughter with someone that she probably shouldn't have put her with.
Probably. I think her thinking is, well, he'll be able to get rid of her, whereas I can't, sort of thing. But
I was also thinking that he's probably got a reputation. He seems like someone who just hit after everyone, and she knows that Mariner would not, succumb so easily. Let's just say.
Yeah, but she probably doesn't know. Yeah, but she won't know that Mariner actually fancies him already. That there's this mutual attraction there between them.
But that's what I'm guessing is her like thought ways is that he'll hit on her. Don't worry, she'll like make mincemeat of him in very quick order as she does with anyone else not suspecting.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So yeah, I thought this was a good opening to the season. Really good fun, as you expect. And I like that the payoff to all the Pac-Led stuff was, the Pac-Leds did it themselves. Like last season, we had all sorts of conspiracy theories about Klingons and all sorts. But
yeah, it was like looking like that, wasn't it? The Klingons had done it, and and you even have at the end where Mariner's trying to nick the ship because Boimler's logs are rubbish. She's trying to nick the ship to go find the Klingons who framed her.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it's all just none of that. It was the Pac-Leds being stupid again.
Blew up big city, big strong city.
In a classic Samaritan snare was my favorite of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, let's throw in another Deep Cuts reference right there.
Yeah.
Is the idea that we'll blow up our capital city and make a massive hole in our planet, so the Federation will rehouse us to a better planet.
They still might do.
I also like to think Samaritan Snare was the name of the TED talk that Geordi LaForge gave at Starfleet, all about the incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that the titles of the old shows are actually how these things are now referred to.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, the episode names are like, that's what we call that time when that happened. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, again, like the TED Talk / Starfleet briefings, they've got to call them something.
Yeah. So, yeah, really good opening to the season. I'm glad Lower Decks is back. I'm glad we've got new Star Trek on telly again. Yeah, and we'll see where we go.
Another 9 weeks.
Absolutely. So, this brings us then to Justice, one of the infamously bad
No,
TNG
another thing about Lower Decks, I just want to get into. No, okay, fine, go on then.
Yeah, it is notorious, this episode, and it's one of the ones that we've always thought we'd have a bit of a laugh doing. So let's see. But Justice. Now
you can blame Star Opperman for this.
Yeah.
Can I just check? Also, because you were asking about Cheers with the low res and everything. With this episode, I noticed, and I'm sure on the other ones, they've got the kind of big format, haven't they, for Next Generation on Netflix? This was in your
No, they should all be in 4:3, the TV. If they're in widescreen, they've stretched them, which they shouldn't be doing.
I watched on Paramount, and I never really took notice of if it was on Smalls 4:3 or 16:9.
It should be in 4:3, but I don't
know.
No,
not elongated. I remember they recut them. They re-released them on DVD, on Blu-ray. They recut them from the originals, which had the long format, and it had. So basically, they always filmed them in that sort of way, so they could recut them, and they recut them true to the original.
Oh, I've not seen the Blu-rays, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I assumed you guys just. Because you know everything else of Star Trek.
I knew they'd remastered them and put them into HD, but I didn't know if they'd changed the aspect ratio.
Oh no, they went in painstakingly because again they shot them on the widescreen shot.
I thought it was DS9 that they shot on widescreen.
DS9 they did,
and Next Gen.
But anyway,
definitely Next Gen because the thing is they it was seen as I think Next Gen was the first one they did, and then they did it for DS9, but certainly next gen they did do it for. But yeah, they as I say, they made great pains to cut it exactly how it was cut on the original run as well.
Yeah.
So even though they were recutting it, basically, they want everything to match up, so
Right.
it felt like the same viewing experience.
Right, well, we'll have to keep an eye on that then. A Netflix mucking around with the aspect ratios. Let's. Is it
like,
inconsistent?
It wasn't Netflix.
watched
I
on
thought they
Paramount
brought
Plus,
them in.
so-
I thought that
Oh.
Netflix had brought in the recut ones, but there was like 2 or 3 episodes they didn't have the original film for, so they had to.
Right.
I was wondering if this was one of them.
It
or
might
if I
be.
misremembered.
I mean, they may not have.
Just thought there's no point.
Yeah, they may not have kept the original film for this one.
Yeah, that might be it.
I mean, straight from the start, like, this society is just presented in such a stupid way. Like, you've got Picard going, well, I've been told the planet's unusually lovely. It's like, what?
Yes.
Who talks like it's unusually lovely? Like, most planets horrible, and it's, oh, no, this one's unusually lovely.
And who talks like that? Especially Picard. It's like the worst character to give that line
Yeah.
to as well. And
It's
also,
like
they.
it's quite obvious that it's early in the script writing, and
Yes, definitely. I mean,
the actors haven't settled into the characters.
no,
I think
and
that's a very generous take on it.
no, it did take them a while to get a handle on Picard,
But
particularly Picard.
it's one of them things that I think actors, as they get used to playing a character, will look at a script and go, "No, Picard doesn't talk like this."
Yeah,
Well, that's maybe he wasn't ready to sort of like correct them on how they wrote it. But you do see him playing it a certain way. Like, if anything, he's more uptight in those earlier episodes, and he kind of mellows as he goes on. Like,
Yeah.
he does find his feet a bit. But I think he would have seen that script and gone, "Lovely, really, quite extraordinarily lovely." Like, again, maybe he just wasn't ready to talk to the writers about it.
it's just
but that
yeah,
just doesn't jar with even what we've seen in the last 6 episodes. Because is this the 7th, something like that?
something like that. Yeah,
With that.
It's episode. I think on Netflix it says it's episode 7. On Paramount Plus it's episode 8.
but that because they're counting Encounter at Farpoint as 2.
There's 2 episodes, and that's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It strictly speaking, it's episode 8, but
Yeah,
What I also love is they seem to sort of pitch hit between them being so accustomed, because they've found out everything about the society, so they know that they are very sex positive and everything. One minute they seem to be completely at ease with it, next minute they seem surprised by it as well. It's the other
yeah,
way.
it's weird, and the fact that one of the first things they say is, "Oh, they make love at the drop of a hat." It's like, really, is that what we're commenting on, like, about this society? Like, and what's this awaiting been up to while you've been down there?
like we have got Riker on it.
You have,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then when
Like,
they get down there, and
who found this out on the away team?
yeah, when
Who went-
they get
Who went casually to one of them? Oh, you fancy a quickie? Yeah. We
Yeah,
all
me and
remember
my
that.
friend, we're all up for it.
and also, you know, Dr. Crusher's saying, "Oh, the crew are exhausted. We've been doing this on this planet. Oh, let's go to the orgy planet. That'll make everyone a lot more rested. They'll be absolutely knackered if you put the whole crew down there, you know."
They'll be exhausted, but very happy to continue with their duties
Well,
after that.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be happy, but anyway. And then they're just so ridiculous, aren't they? Like, you know, you get the one, "I must welcome this lovely one here," and where they're kissing them on the necks and stuff as a greeting.
Oh.
It's like,
Oh yeah,
it should be called, like, it'd be, you know, well, you won't make it now. It'd be the Me Too planet, not the.
I was going to
you
say
know.
that it was classified ME2 on the database. I mean, because when they go up to Wesley, there's like, "Oh, I'm not sure what would be appropriate to you. The rest of you, yeah, I just figured you'd be okay with it."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're
You're
like,
a child, so I'm not going to molest you straight away. Which is brownie points to her. That she recognises a child, so she ain't going to molest him immediately.
"Yeah, it's nice of her." Yeah, and she basically says, like, "Look, we all want to shag, but we feel a little bit bad that Wesley's here, so let's find him something to do." Like, awkward. I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? But anyway, the serious drama of the episode, though, is we get the big ship here, and it's only half there. And I think watching this episode closely so that we could talk about it on the podcast, there is a kernel of a decent idea here that this is like an interdimensional species and it watches over this planet, and that aspect of it and the design of the ship is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, they could, if they'd have had something interesting happening on the planet, then that half of the story probably could have been really interesting. But
so you mean that aspect which they completely ignore, basically? That
well,
was the
yeah,
bit. You're right. Yeah.
they more or less do. Yeah.
This is one of the alien species that you wish that they'd revisited in depth, or that they'd revisit again and give us some more about them, because it's obviously a far more advanced species than the Federation.
Yeah.
Now, you speak to something which some other people have said about, if you're going to remake a film, remake a really bad one and make it good. Don't remake a good film that everyone loves. Unfortunately, though, you go into that pitch meeting, it's like, right, I want to go and do another crack at Justice. Out!
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of somebody being executed or potentially being executed for violating a trivial law and how do we deal with it could be really, really interesting, but it's just that it's all so crass that it to the point that it becomes meaningless, you know.
Like, the thing is, though, that we find out about this law before it happens, and we've got to imagine there's been an away team finding out about this planet because they found out they make love at the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
They found out it's extraordinary, lovely, etc. And yet, in 5 minutes of Natasha Yar talking to someone, she finds out this about the laws and that there's only one law and it's death sentence.
Oh, yeah. No.
Like,
and Elliot,
what
just to
research
throw into your
were they
point.
doing before?
No. To add to your point, Elliot, they even explicitly say they had all the laws sent over. They've gone through them all. Definitely kosher. Oh, did we not mention that we kill people who break any law? It's like, that's a pretty shitty report. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and did they not like...
Oh, it never came up.
Look, you know, they said all these laws are fine. Did you not think some of them were a bit extreme, like messing up the flowers is against the law, you know?
You step over this white fence.
Yeah, it's you can't go across the white fences. Like, very, very bizarre.
There's also, like, when the cops grab Wesley, they say, it's like, oh, ignorance of the law is no defense. You're the one who sent them the bloody laws, and you didn't think to mention that you've got God up there and we just kill people willy-nilly?
We literally boil it down. The laws on this planet are, there's no crime whatsoever. So what they do, because there's no crime whatsoever and no one thinks of making a crime, is they pick little areas and they put a white fence around it, and they go, if you step in that white fence, that's breaking the law and we'll kill you.
Yeah.
And that's the only law that I can tell this planet has.
Yeah, it's a little bit bizarre, and it's like...
They've done the thing on the laws, didn't they know this was the law and all get a briefing? Or if you see a white picketed area fenced over, don't step into it because that's the only law they have.
Yeah.
It's a very easy law to follow and to brief on.
Yeah, they mentioned the other laws. They do mention littering, other things, but it's like, again, didn't think this was worth mentioning.
Yeah, it would have been a good idea. It's like, well, can we see a schedule as to which areas are the death areas in advance? Would that be okay? Anyway.
No, they did say that has to be a surprise, so people didn't know.
True, because that's it.
That one I'll give them. But again, maybe mentioning the whole setup might have been good.
It's kind of like hidden speed cameras. It's like, well, you shouldn't be speeding anywhere, but if you don't know where you're going to get done for it, you won't do it anywhere. That's the...
I mean, could you imagine?
That's the idea of it, but...
Can you imagine what was actually in the report they sent over about their lords? Just like a pad going, yep, it's all right. Yeah, okay, apparently everything's fine. Cool.
Did no one ask what happens if we break any of these laws? No. We need to know that. That's fine. Wesley meets this girl then, and it's just this awful, cringy bit where it's like, I want you to teach me a game. And it's like, well, there's some games I'm not ready for. Like, really? You're a 16-year-old lad or whatever, Wesley? He'd have been bloody all over him. Like, come on.
It's only meant to be about 13, 14 here, isn't it?
I still think most lads at 13, 14 would have been.
Oh, yeah, there'd have been. But it's like one of them's doing this perfect handstand, walking on his hands.
Yeah.
And Wesley goes, oh, well, watch this. And he does these fucking awful cartwheels. Not even proper cartwheels.
Do you reckon, actually, I've just come up with something in my head now, but do you reckon that lad was, like, ashamed by Wesley's cartwheel prowess, and he thinks, I'm going to chuck a ball into a death zone to get this fucker now?
Can we also throw into the mix?
Maybe he was ashamed for Wesley.
Yeah, he needs to die for that.
But he's walking on his hands straight up in perfect gymnast pose.
Yeah.
The only thing I am going to throw in at this point as well, which is to the good of this episode, which there's very, very few good things you can say about this. But I do love early series Next Generation, where they tried to show that, it's the future, so everyone's equal, everyone can wear the same kind. So they've got the guys in these, basically the Borat mankinis, like all throughout the episode, where you can clearly see half their packages, which, thanks Star Trek. But, if you're going to do it equally, I suppose. You can see the ladies' figures through the outfit, let's just say.
The thing that I noticed about these uniforms, or not noticed, the thing I was thinking about is, like, bear in mind, this is 1987 this was made.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever was the costume designer has looked at sort of 70s, early 80s costumes and gone, yeah, that's the style that we want for Aliens. There's nothing. There's nothing forward here.
No, true. It's like they've watched Zardoz and they've gone, you know what we're good about that film? Connery's outfit. Let's have a Planet of Zardoz's.
There's quite a lot of Buck Rogers that's very skimpy like.
True. Yes, there is. So a couple of things about the incident with Wesley then. So first, that lad throws that ball somewhere that there's no way Wesley can catch that without falling on the flower. That does make me wonder if he's got an agenda.
Premeditated.
Second,
that other girl who invited him to play ball. He had a thing with her.
He's like, I want to teach her to play ball. Secondly, you know I mean. Wesley gets up from it and he's just like, I'm fine. What's the problem? I'm fine. Like, are you not going to apologise for making a mess out of somebody's garden?
Yes.
Like,
yes, thank you.
Like, Wesley's pretty, it's no wonder they want to put him to death because he's just like, look, I'm fine. What's your problem? Oh, I've wrecked your little flowers, have I?
Yeah, you've got this one little area that's fenced off. So that tells me it's maybe something special. But I've just fallen in it, rolled around a bit.
Yeah.
I'll give it a roll.
So it's damn Starfleet privilege it is.
It is. I just don't think he shows enough remorse. But then back on the ship, like they take the woman up the ship to show them God and all this. And Dr. Crusher comes in and she's like, hey, there's this thing of, I want to speak to her personally about what's happening with Wesley. She comes in and she's like, Captain. And he just goes like, in a moment, Doctor. It's like, really? You're just fobbing her off? Like, her son is about to be put to death. Like, Picard, you need to deal with this now,
And quite literally about to be put to death. You saw how quickly that guy produced a syringe ready to just lethal inject him on the spot.
Well, they have now given him till sunset.
Yeah, they let him out.
But I'm saying the whole point is, though, that...
Fair here to Picard on this. Like, Picard knows that there's something going on with this alien. Because he's busy communicating with Data because it's put a beach ball on his head. And Picard has been down on the surface and has gone, right, we can stay on the execution till sunset. Right, I've got an idea. Let's find out what's going on. I'll bring this woman up to sort of see the God and all that. And then Crusher's in. is already dealing with the situation with Wesley.
Yeah, but I think she is due an explanation. I think it's a bit cold-hearted that he just fobs her off. Like, I'll talk to you later about it, Doctor. As if it's unreasonable that she wants to know what's going on.
It's not unreasonable. I think because Picard says about a good 10 minutes after the scene, he says, "Oh, don't worry, no matter what happens, I won't let Wesley get put to death." Maybe lead with that. That might be a good, banner headline.
Yeah, but he couldn't say that in front of this woman he's brought up, could he?
Maybe not.
No, he says it in front of her later.
I can't remember.
Later on, she's there, I'm sure.
No, he beams her back down before this.
And that's
gets angry.
Because you need a bit of tension. It's the slowest beam out ever. It's just like this really slow materialization. Like, do it now, beam around now. And it's
also,
just
it's really badly cut. So he still going, it's like, no, now, when you can see her already beaming away, he's still giving the command. Go, no, come on, hurry up. They're like, we're fucking in mid-beam right now. What the fuck do you want us to do? We can't make her dematerialize quicker.
Oh, you can. You could have the super fast beams like Generations. That were a really quick beam effect. It was just like, shoo.
Also, have we come to the guy on the bridge who went on to play Carrie?
No. Tell us about him, because this could be a highlight of this episode, actually.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, but it kind of works time-wise because he's Lieutenant Carrie in Voyager, and the same guy plays Con here, which Con, obviously, a very good credit to have, as Con Meaney had that before he named it as Miles O'Brien. So, yeah. Obviously, it's a credit to have. But, yeah, it kind of works for me as well in the timeline. If he's Con here on the Enterprise, a few years later, he's up to Lieutenant on the Voyager. It works nicely.
Yeah, that does actually work.
It makes sense. He's got time to progress and all that.
And usually there's some reason why it doesn't work. Like, they've, like with Tuvok in, oh God, I'm going to blank on his name. Tim Russ in Generations. Like, he could have been Tuvok there if it wasn't for the fact they made him human.
Yeah, drop the ball a little bit there, but never mind. I mean, there's an attempted comedy scene between Picard and Data, where it's like, Data, don't babble. And then he just starts giving monosyllabic answers. He's like, feel free to offer more information. And it's clearly meant to be one of these funny scenes where you see how quirky Data is, but for me, it just fell flat, this scene.
Well, also, in that scene,
with Data early on in Next Gen.
Data's always used conveniently.
Yeah, but how he does this with how he talks and doesn't understand properly.
Like, that's what I mean.
Is this before or after Data Law in sequence?
Is it just before?
Right, but Data Law establishes that he's been in basically part of the Federation for 20-odd years.
Yeah, and he's got all the colonists' memories and blah, blah, blah.
And yet, he has no idea how to sort of like talk to people until he gets on the Enterprise. It's
always very convenient. Like, if they need him to not know what a very simple phrase, which is used all the time, means, they'll just have him not know it. If they need him to know it, he'll know it. It's very back and forward with that. But it's also the fact that Data expressly says in this conversation, like, well, I don't think I ever babble. And he goes on to like this tirade about it before he gets shut down by Picard. The next scene, he goes, well, I was babbling. You just literally just... I mean, he caught on to that very quickly as well. Just little conveniences in the plot.
Yeah, I just don't feel it works how they were planning to be it, But there you go.
Like we do know that there's great chemistry between these as actors.
Yeah.
Later on, that develops, and it's just. Half of it is bad writing in the early season.
It is. And the thing is, like, we are coming down harsh on this episode, and
rightly.
It is justified, because yes, you can say it's early days, but you can do better than this. This is a low point, even for the early ones.
This is one of those where this is typical of what Gene Roddenberry was trying to do with Next Gen. That didn't work. There's absolutely no conflict. There's no conflict between characters.
Yeah.
And you need that for good drama.
You do, and it's trying to tell a moral, but it doesn't really land it. Like the wrap up, I don't think's very good. It's just okay. So, and they do raise a point earlier on where the people more or less say to Picard, "Well, rescue him, then you could do that. You can have him back." It's almost like they're holding their hands up and going, "Look, this is our law, but if you want to take him, you can do it.
You're far more powerful. You could do this."
But yeah, Picard's like, I can't because of the Prime Directive, so we've got to try and talk your god round, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's I remember that scene. If you had asked me before I watched it, that scene where they talk to actually directly to their god. Oh, that was a good 5-10 minutes of the show. They took their time on that scene. It's like a 2-minute wrap up. They say two lines, and the god, which apparently this god didn't understand anything until this moment. Even when it was shouting at them, it didn't understand how to modify its voice. It didn't understand basically that they beamed up the girl from the planet to talk to her. Couldn't understand any of that. But the second they say 2 lines about, it's like, well, blind justice is no justice at all. And then Riker chips in with, what he said.
Justice is never as simple as a rule book. Very smugly.
And then Picard goes, yeah, good work there, Riker.
Yeah,
and
nice one, number one.
Apparently, those 3 lines is all it took for this entity to understand.
That's it. That's all it. It's just it is rubbish. The ending,
it's the same as you're saying with Data. Actually, it's like it's that woeful decision of like, oh, in this scene they don't understand anything. This next scene they understand just in a very simple explanation. It's bullshit.
Yeah. It's like this could have been a really good Prime Directive episode.
Yeah,
it could have been
of the problems that. We've got this idyllic society. They have no wars, they have no crime, but they put up punishment zones. And you don't enter the punishment zone or the penalty is death. And it's really easy because they've got these fences round them to sort of show you. So it ain't like it's just like me pointing at my carpet going, you stand on that bit of my carpet, I'll shoot you. But you get me.
That's exactly what it is.
We're laughing in agreement. It's not.
And then, somebody's done this from our crew, and then you've got a proper Prime Directive dilemma. But we've got this god Bean, and we'll just say justice can't be blind.
Yeah.
And okay.
I'd like to throw in another one.
Breaking your Prime Directive.
I can even think of a way you get away around the because for a second I was going to go, no, but it wouldn't even work then because how would they not know these laws if they've had them sent over? You could say there was a mistranslation of part of it.
As opposed to like that.
It's mistranslated from being a static justice zone to a movable one, depending on what day of the week it is or how they're feeling.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways they could have done it, and probably not having the god thing in the episode would have made it better that they've got to win over the society.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a bit of a cop-out just having the god go, yeah, you're right, Picard and Riker, okay.
Get out
and so it gets Picard off the hook of not having to break the Prime Directive because it just goes, yeah, okay, we'll let you. And it's very, very weak ending.
To such a weak episode.
Yes, to such a weak episode. So basically, if you rewrote it from the ground up, and kept some of the same premise, you might have pulled it off. But
rename the planet Risa, for instance.
Yeah, maybe this is Risa. Maybe this turns into Risa, and they just get rid of the laws.
I still get the feeling they were like maybe there was that conversation Elliot was saying about before, where they were going to like. Maybe if we just told this better, let's just make it Risa. We'll just make it a new planet so we don't have to try and resell this garbage.
Yeah, the idea of a pleasure planet, is interesting. But, it just doesn't work, does it? Like a lot of season 1, unfortunately.
But, like, this is a highlight of badness.
Yes, definitely. This one is just bad, and you can have a bit of a laugh with it. But then, you get episodes like Code of Honor, which are just offensively bad. So,
Yeah.
You know, at least we're still in the right line of it here.
At least this isn't cringeworthy, and we're not bordering into 70s racist TV. And
yes, yeah. At least
we just went into mild. I can't even accuse it of sexism, but mildly inappropriate behaviour towards greeting people.
Yeah, and yeah,
yeah.
There you go.
The U2 spectrum.
Put that on the DVD case. Justice could have been worse. It could have been racist, and we'll leave it there.
Only inappropriate sexual themes. That's much better.
Dr. Squee, have you not got something more to tell us about Squeefest before we go?
I believe I do, and thank you very much for queuing me up for that. So, we've been adding to the lineup. But one notable addition for the Star Trek fans out there is Rick Sternbach. So he's joining me in the wee hours of the night. He's the production illustrator. Been working on Trek since Next Generation, I think, is through to the movies.
Yeah.
And I sent you a video, and you can say that how much pain it cost me making it happen.
I mean, I don't know if we'll have time for that, but any questions you want put to them, please do let me know.
I know the story of why Voyager's the cells move, and I've done the engineering to make them work on the Revel Voyager.
Right.
And how much pain he gives me making that work.
Okay. Well, we have got a Star Trek double. So I mentioned last week we've got Michael W. Moore, who not only worked on Star Trek, but also Gremlins and the Back to the Future movies, Hobbit movies. He's a prop maker for all those things. So we got a kind of Star Trek double bill, I believe, between 3 a.m. till 5 a.m. So we won't blame you if you want to watch back in the morning. But can I quickly go through the other guests, my friends?
Absolutely.
Okay. From the Doctor Who TV movie back in '96, Yi-Ji Cho, who was also in Sliders, Continuum, loads of other fantastic genre stuff. He's been doing Big Finish for Doctor Who as well. Artist Lee Sullivan, who's worked on Doctor Who and Transformers and loads of other great stuff. Sue Hodge, who was Mimi LeBonc from Hello Hello. Ian McNeice, Churchill from Doctor Who, as well as being a regular in Doc Martin. Sam Lee Howe, Samantha Lee Howe, who who's written a book, The Stranger in Our Bed, which is now a major motion picture, which is coming out on VOD this weekend, actually, just in time for Squeefest. I don't think they planned it like that, but it is. Rob Lloyd, comedian presenter from Australia, and then from the Americas, science comedian Brian Mallow. So great lineup. And as well as that, we've got some fun and games going on. So we've got one game called Outrageous Liars, where people compete to just make up something based on a tale. Like, we're basically given a topic, say, tell us about the time when you invented 3 new types of dog food, and you've got to make up on the spot. Lots of fun. But the main event, the closer for Squeefest, between 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 11th of September. So this is the 10th to 11th of September. This is happening, 2 p.m. till 2 p.m. The closer is with my boy, Captain Jim here. We've got Kingy, Leezy, and we've got Spindles in the slam down event, which is Wrestling Talk Trumps. So from one hat, I'm going to pick out a wrestler name. From another hat, I'm going to pick out a something they're going to be doing. So we're going to go do a practice one right now, Kingy. So
I did the practice one on your official announcement the other night.
Okay, I've done quite a few of these. So let's say it is. I'm trying to think of one which I haven't done yet. Say it's Hornswoggle.
Oh,
and why he is the best one to help you get acquitted in a court of law.
Why is the best one to help you get acquitted in a court of law? Because he can just slip under the radar. He's not the tallest of all men, so he's good at sneaking into places. He can get under all the radar, and he was always good at jumping out on people and hitting them with a shillelagh and stuff like that. So, if he can't get you off legally, he could probably jump the prosecution and sort them out that way.
I would also accept it with a name like Hornswoggle. He's got to be Irish, so he'd probably just get the judge drunk.
Yeah, he also the leprechaun in the remake of Leprechaun, so he can probably do some bougie powers there as well. So
bougie, I think, being the official term, which is sanctioned, so that's good. Excellent. Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful 24 hours. We're raising money for Shelter, wonderful charity. So if you go to justgiving.com/shelter then you can donate right now. So it's SHELTERSQUEE on justgiving.com. And also
we'll put that into the comments of this video on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Excellent. I just want to also give a quick shout out, as I did last week, to StreamYard, who are very kindly sponsoring us to get a free upgrade to the professional package for the course of Squeefest. So that keeps us streaming for the whole 24 hours. It is the most simple, amazing way of streaming to different social media. So you can stream out to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you want to, all through one platform. Couldn't be simpler to use. And as a result, what I'm going to do is I'll donate the difference at the end of the event. I always donate a bit to top it up to a round figure, but I will make sure it's including at least the amount which it costs for an upgrade for StreamYard. So that money's going straight back into the pot for the amazing people at Shelter.
Awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And we'll be there. Obviously, we're covering Galaxy Quest and probably the latest episode of Lower Decks just before Squeefest.
Yeah.
So...
we got some last minute orders from Starfleet. They said an hour wasn't enough. We're doing 2 hours.
We need 2 hours to talk about Galaxy Quest. Absolutely. So, but in the meantime, we're going to be back next week for a regular episode, which will be episode 2 of Lower Decks, and wherever that sends us elsewhere in the Star Trek universe.
And I hope you enjoyed my hair on this particular broadcast, because by next week, just before Squeefest, I'll have pulled it out in chunks.
I just want to say now, unless it's extraordinarily points towards it, we promise we will not be doing Code of Honor next week.
No, unless they revisit the Code of Honor planet, which I can't imagine they would. But you never know.
They can't do that to us. I can't do it. Not 2 weeks in a row.
No. So yeah, hit us up on all the socials, and thanks for trekking with us this time. We'll see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you.
LLAP.
Fascinating.
Oh, here we are. Bonus content.
Woohoo!